Welcome to the Tachiai Haru Banzuke podcast, a week late but never undersold. I'm Bruce Henderson, Associate Editor of Tachiai, and joining me is the creator, all-around awesome guy, and knowledgeable sumo fan, Andy. Say hello, Andy.
Hello, happy Hina Matsuri.
Well done. So Andy's having this giant, delightful festival at his house, and we've decided in the middle of it we're going to talk about sumo. So Banzuke has been out for a week now. What sort of things caught your eye when the Banzuke came out?
I like seeing Ichinojo back up in the Sanyaku, but I'm really excited about Tochinoshin. I'm very hopeful that we've got an Ozeki run in the process.
So he's got a lot of expectations. So what was interesting is there was some discussion in the Japanese press. I think John Gunning must have posted it somewhere that he was feeling a little tired because after winning the Yusho, there were all the parties, all the ceremonies, all the things that he had to do as a Yusho winner, and he didn't get to train as much as he normally does. Do you think that's going to impact him?
With his injuries, I'm hoping that that's a good thing, that he stays off of it, and that maybe staying away for a couple of days gives him a couple of days off of that knee.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that that's a good thing. I'm hopeful, but I'm excited for him. I mean, it's really, really cool to have some new blood picking up a Yusho, and I mean, it's scarce that it could have been a better guy. So yeah, it'll be cool, and I really do hope that we get some fresh Ozeki blood. But I mean, again, he's got his injury issues. So I mean, Takayasu got up there, gets his injury, and Goeido's just kind of underperformed, shall we say? So
Goeido just can't get it together, man. I don't know what's wrong with him. When he's on, like he was in Aki 2016, the guy's unstoppable. But I mean, let's talk about a taboo subject for folks like myself, and that's age. So Takayasu, he just turned 28 or 27. We've got all of the Yokozuna over 30. I think Goeido is over 30. We've got and Tochinoshin, he's no spring chicken either.
Right.
So we've got this whole notion now that we've got these guys who are towards the end stage of what is a normal sumo career, and they're all sort of top competitors right now.
Yeah. And then the really kind of frustrating part is that as soon as we get a new tadpole, they get injured. Onosho. Endo before Onosho. And I mean, the Ura, I'm so hopeful that we'll get Ura back sometime in peace.
Yeah.
And I mean, like John Gunning said in his article, it was a little bit surprising that he had put on so much weight when he came up. So I don't know.
He struggled with his weight because he bulked up over the course of about 3 months, and for a while he couldn't effectively fight with that. If you remember, he struggled in Juryo for a while because he didn't know how to handle his body at that size anymore.
Yeah, and I'm curious if he'll stay at that weight and try to continue to fight at that, or if he's going to kind of struggle with at a lighter weight like Ishiura. I mean, I've kind of been thinking that Ishiura needs to put on some more
some bulk up a little,
more tricks really.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. So speaking of our favorite guy, Ura is down to Matsushita 10 now. And no bottom in sight for this guy because he's going to be out probably for at least 2 more tournaments recuperating from that surgery.
I think honestly he won't be back until he's fighting Wakaichiro. I mean, he'll be down there. And
well, you know what? If that's a potential match, hell, I'm getting on a plane to Japan because I want to see that.
No, I do think that will be. I mean, I would be honored to go up against Ura. So that would be really really cool matchup. It's just unfortunate that he's gonna drop so far because of the I mean, well, hopefully he will take this injury seriously, see what Tochinoshin did, and just kind of build himself back up.
So
See
Tochinoshin dropped way down the Banzuke and then completely obliterated the lower ranks, like going with 0 losses for like 3 tournaments because, you've got this giant hulk of a man with ridiculous upper body strength.
He just picks people up. I mean, if he can pick up Ichinojo, like it was amazing to see him battling Hakuho maybe 2 tournaments ago.
Yeah.
And Hakuho went toe to toe with him and picked him up. That really impressed me because Tochinoshin is somebody I love his Ichinojo epic battles. I mean, not this last one. This last one was kind of a letdown.
It was a pretty straightforward fight, but yeah, those two can certainly battle.
Yeah, I mean that big 4-minute epic was awesome.
It was. So you brought up Hakuho. So let's talk about one of the things we've had up on Tachiai, and that's the threat of what we've been calling the Nokazuna, or there's two ways this could play out. One, we don't have a Yokozuna who even starts the tournament, or 2, we get to day 15 and there are no Yokozuna left that are in fighting shape. So tell me your thoughts about that a little.
I think it's better than a 50-50 shot that we will not have a Yokozuna finishing. If we do, it will be Hakuho. I think this may be Kakuryu's last tournament. And Kiseno Sato, I honestly want to see him sit and wait maybe 2 more because Hiruth has pointed out that the pec is gone. Yep. And when you don't have a muscle there, that's kind of a big handicap.
Well, it was his left side was his primary weapon. So in addition, the stuff we've been talking about since he got injured last year is that you spend that much time not training against someone of, say, Takayasu's caliber, the rest, all of your muscles tend to atrophy, even if it's a little, and you're no longer at Yokozuna level competition.
I mean, I think he needs to seriously try to recondition and hopefully come back. He's not going to be 100% anytime. I mean, never. But if he can come back 75% and really compete to where he needs to get those Yokozuna Kachikoshis, and I don't think he can do that now. I don't think he can get 10, much less 12, and he should be getting 12. Right.
Yeah, it's a real pity because he's a great competitor and a great fighter, and him being in a sort of washed up state like this is really sad. So just to bring fans up to speed, Yokozuna Hakuho has damage to both big toes, including the one that he had surgery on 18 months ago. Kakuryu is over whatever he did to sprain his ankle, but he seriously injured 3 of the fingers on his right hand in a fall on the final match of the final day, and he still can't generate any grip strength from his right. He's right-handed, so this is trouble. And Kiseno Sato, of course, may not be much hope for that pectoral muscle, and with that, he's probably not going to be able to fight as a Yokozuna again. So, would be tough if we got into a Yokozuna situation. I hope we don't, but I think you're right, Andy. I think we are witnessing sort of the sunset of our familiar favorites here.
I think that Hakuho is around for another good year. I mean, for a good long time. He's still capable of it and sticking around, but Kakuryu and Kiseno Sato, just their injuries are really, really overpowering. So we're going to be facing it's prime time to be in Osaka for spring with the cherry blossoms coming out the day after, or the cherry blossoms forecast to peak the day after Senshuraku. We've got big changes coming up, new spring, and there's going to be a lot of shifting up at the top ranks of Makuuchi, and hopefully we'll be getting some new blood up in there, and it'll be a pretty exciting time.
So let's talk about some new blood then, if you want to. So first and foremost, our tadpoles, for the most part. For those of you who aren't clued in, we refer to this sort of crop of Rikishi who came into Makuuchi about 12 to 18 months ago as tadpoles. Most of them had a very interesting and distinctive body shape. They were quite bulbous. They all were more or less pusher thrusters. So folks like Inosho, Takekeisho, you could even consider Takayumi as a tadpole. These guys are headed higher. There's no doubt about it. They all took a pretty good beating at Hatsu. So what are your thoughts?
Onosho is unfortunately a no-show. And I'm sorry. I love puns.
No, it's no shows and no show today.
And then but Takayumi, I think I think he's my choice for right now, for the guy who he stayed at Sanyaku, and he's starting to be a regular there, like how Goedo used to be.
Yep.
And I think if he can decide to kick it up a notch, then I think that he may be able to put together an Ozeki run. I don't think he's ready for it yet, but with the opportunities that are being afforded to him, I'm hoping that he is able to take advantage. Maybe Ichinojo sees millions of barrels of ice cream in his future if he can pick up a Yusho. I mean, he has so much potential. Like, I don't want to lay out the ifs, but he's got the potential to be a very strong Yokozuna.
He's a freaking monster.
Yeah, and he's young, and he could be around for a while. So, so he and Tochinoshin, Takayumi, they're up there. Sanyaku, and I guess Tochinoshin is the elderly one among them. Probably not.
Poor guy.
I mean, Hakuho will probably outlast his career, but it will be very it'll be a very interesting 6 months. I gotta say that. And Endo, I'm hoping that he gets whatever head games he plays, because sometimes he just seems to get into a funk and lose it. But
yep.
if he's in it, he can do it. And unfortunately, some of the guys like lower down see him as a pretty big payday. So I think they really, really gun for him.
Yeah.
I mean, when guys like Aoyama, who are not used to picking up a paycheck afterward, they get him on the schedule, they're like, I may be able to get my wife some new presents or something. So I think that they take a little bit extra out on Endo, and it's good to see him back up at a level where these guys are used to playing for money. So they'll hopefully he will realize that he's pretty good, and he should be able to perform, stay up there in the joy. But I don't think that he will. I don't think that he will last up there for very long. So
let's. So we talked about our tadpoles. Let's talk about another group that I'm calling the freshmen. So the freshmen are the young Rikishi who came up from Juryo within the last 6 months or so. So that's Yutaka Yama, that's Abe, that's Ryuden, That's Asanoyama. All of these guys who seem to be, sort of big, sort of strong. They're not necessarily just pusher thrusters. They've got a little bit different tone to their sumo. And all of them seem to be, I don't know, for lack of a better term, they all seem to be pretty level-headed. They all seem to be pretty calm and stable. And they all seem to be willing to play the long game of taking their sumo to higher level. Thoughts about these guys?
They're all pretty much at their peak right now. I mean, they're all at like their highest ranks. I get not their peaks because
so Abe's at Majashira 7, Ryoden at Majashira 9, Yutakayama at Majashira 11. All those are all career highs.
Right, but hopefully in the future they'll be able to surpass that. But for right now, like they're pretty high for where they are for I guess their experience. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start suffering some setbacks. Although Yutakayama, he's been around for a couple of tournaments now, so I think he's probably well set at Maegashira 11. I don't foresee like a 10-win tournament or anything out of him, but if he can put together Kachikoshi and kind of ease himself into the middle of the Maegashira, he won't, I guess, overburden himself by getting too high up too fast.
Yep.
As we've seen with a lot of guys. Ono Sho is a good example of a guy who
yes.
They I guess bubble up to the top and then they get burst because they go up too high too fast. So I kind of think that when they're able to rather temper their rise, it's a fortuitous strategy. So
let's go through our traditional podcast question period. We're going to talk about who's Genki and who's not. Okay, so we'll start kind of close to the top. We've already covered the Yokozuna, so we won't go into them in too much detail. But let's take Takayasu. What do you think about him? Is he Genki this time, or is he just going to try and make a go of it? Just keep as is.
I think I will be happy to see him with 9 wins. I think his muscle is still not. I mean that.
The thigh muscle.
Left thigh. Yeah. I don't think it's. It's pretty hard to come back from, even though it's such an innocuous, like goofy injury.
Yeah, that
fall. He's basically stepping off the dohyo. But it's those ones that he obviously knew something was wrong immediately, and coming back from that, but still having to perform and pick up Kachikoshi in order to not go Karaban. I don't see him particularly pushing for a Yusho, which is where I had hoped Goeido would have been fighting Tochinoshin for the Yusho last time. So I was a bit disappointed with that.
Okay, so you said it. Let's ask it. Goeido, Genki.
Yes, please.
Do you think he's going to be charged up in his hometown, and that we may see Goeido 2.0 again?
If there's anywhere that it's going to happen, it's going to happen in Osaka, and he will have the fan base, he will have the crowd support, and hopefully he will have the health, and he will be able to move forward instead of backwards.
That way.
Forward. When he does it, he's just so he's built, he's low, he's able to move forward and push people away. But then when he backs up,
it's terrible. He has no balance, it seems, moving backwards, and you shouldn't be moving backwards anyhow. When the guy commits 100% to offense, when he's moving forward, with a plan, he tends to win, and we love watching him win. And it bothers me specifically tremendously to watch this guy fall to pieces when he's got so much capability.
And that's the thing. He's got so many others rely on pulling and I guess getting their opponent to basically push them to the edge, and then they're able to kind of pull and it's not henka, but like just kind of olay them out.
Yeah.
But he's not one of them. So please stop trying to do that.
Okay, so let's take a few more while we buzz through this. So this is what I'm really kind of curious about, because this guy doesn't make a lot of noise. He's not flashy. He doesn't attract too much attention. But look at where he is now. So at Magishira 2, Takara Fuji. Genki?
Yes. Now he's the big dog in the Heya. So I think depending on how, I guess, dramatic the events are and have been around Isega Hamabeya, now that Haruma Fuji has himself his coach position, and let's see, Teruno Fuji is nowhere to be seen down in Juryo.
No, he looks terrible. He looks like he doesn't feel well. He's not moving well. I feel so sad for this guy because it didn't have to turn out this way.
Yeah, and I mean, and to me, like in Teruno Fuji's situation, I feel bad because I don't think it's all necessarily the knees. I think that mentally, I mean, especially like what he went through with the whole Haruma Fuji mess, like that's just been, and I mean, as Haruth has said on the blog, like you've got a guy who, I mean, kind of, well, yeah, he definitely laid hands on him and should not have, and so, and yet he's your coach now. There's definitely some drama in there, and now Takara Fuji he's going to be the top for a while, I think.
I would think so too.
And so it's going to be a big shift. I'm hoping that it's something that gives him a little bit of a I don't know, makes him feel chuffed or something, because and gives him a bit of a boost. He's been Sanyaku before. He's a quality guy. It's just that when he gets up there, sometimes he doesn't.
He's careful.
Very well.
He's careful. That's that sometimes you can't be careful. But Takara Fuji he always strikes me as very, very careful.
And you can't do a Nodowa against a guy with no neck.
That's right. So it took that right away. So let's move on to another one that I think fans really want to know a little bit more about, and that's Takakeisho, right? So Takakeisho is he's licking his wounds a little bit because he had a pretty disastrous Hatsubasho. But this guy's going nowhere. The wave action Tsupari is ready to be unleashed as soon as he wants to bring it, and there are very few answers that I've seen for it so far, short of Hakuho playing, Butsugari with him.
And in the Joy with such a weak top level, like weak Yokozunas and weak Ozekis. Well, not necessarily weak Ozekis, but we're talking about maybe 90%.
Inconsistent Ozekis.
Inconsistent. That's a good point. Being in the Joy this time around may not be too bad for Takakeisho, and so I'm excited for his prospects. I think that if he had fallen further, like into a Maegashira 5, Maegashira 6, he'd be looking at a Junyo show easy. I mean, he'd have 12 wins, 12, maybe even 13. Where he is, he'll have his challenges, but I think I'm hopeful that he will be in the leadership pack going into the final week. I don't know about going into the final weekend, but in the final week, I think he could he could stay up there in that group of like 7-0, 6-1.
So let's talk about someone who's really hit a wall, because he's another quality rikishi, another guy who I think could be an Ozeki sometime in the next few years, and that is Hokuto Fuji. Hokuto Fuji has really been struggling. What's your thoughts on the guy?
He's one of those guys where he is in Maegashira 6. It's one of those where he's on the cusp of the joy, so he'll probably with a lot of guys likely to go Kyujo. Well, even now I don't think that they'll dip as far down as him. So he should be able to perform pretty well where he is. It's just, does he want to pick up 10, 11, 12 wins and rise up into the joy, or does he want to kind of cool it, pick up his 8, pick up his 9, and stay around where he is? And I hate to, I mean, I know that kind of, it gives the sniff of Yaocho, but it's not, to me, like, Yaocho is where you clearly are like, you got paid to lose.
Right.
In this situation where you kind of want to, I don't know, game and not rise too high, then it's not where you're losing on purpose. But if the other guy gets you to the edge, you step out and you don't risk an injury. You basically play low risk sumo, and you'll pick up more losses, but you probably won't rise as hard, as high, and as fast, and then risk injury going against harder guys. So I think Hokuto Fuji, I don't see him wanting 10 wins. I see him wanting to pick up his Kachikoshi and his paycheck.
So I think that there's an interesting situation, though, that may modify all this, and I'm sure the Rikishi see this, is that we're probably on the cusp this year of losing at least one and maybe all of our Yokozuna, and there's going to be a jump ball soon. And whoever is sitting up in Sanyaku will have one of the easiest promotion routes in a long, long time. Yeah. Being up there, being Komosubi, being Sekiwake, you're going to have a period of probably about 7 to 8 basho where people can move. People can move fast after there's been no promotion lanes open for years and years and years. I mean, it's kind of a miracle that Takayasu made it. And I chalk that up to two things. One, he was training against Kisena Sato. And two, we started to get into this period where all of the Yokozuna were injured. And so his fight card against the top men was lighter. Nothing to take away from Takayasu, who's a favorite of mine. I mean, for God's sake, I have the man's Tagada. But these promotion lanes are very real, and when you've got these dominant Rikishi at the top blocking everyone and just picking up a dozen wins each basho, there's no way anyone can move for promotion. So I want to go one more on the Genki list, because this has a bunch of fans worried, myself included. That's dear old berserker Yoshikaze.
Genki.
You think so? You think he's coming back? There was never any word on what on earth happened to the poor guy, because except for his Yokozuna fights where he was lit, he looked really, really, really out of it at Hatsu.
I think being up in there in the joy is no joke, and it gets, I think, into their heads sometimes. Although, I mean, Yoshikaze, he's been around, and God knows that his head's gotten bashed around up there.
His head is the picture child for being bashed around.
But he's in a position where he's not going to. He can chill. I mean, at the level that he's at, he's not going to have to bang it out against Yokozunas and Ozekis. He's going to be able to chill with his M7 mate is Abi.
Yeah, I know. So that's going to be fun because those two will probably fight in the first weekend. Boy, is Abi going to have a bit of an education.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing is that Abi, Kaisei, Kagiaki, Daie Sho, like Ryuden is 2 below. Like,
he's gonna have some fun. That's all I can say.
Okinomi is down there. Like, Chiyomaru, just put the guy to sleep, and I mean, he's a big bubble. I mean, he will enjoy this basho. Again, I don't see him. I think this is a prime one for Yoshikaze to go.
You think so?
And pick up 12. I mean, this is one where he could really pick on some of these younger guys and these inexperienced guys, and I think he's my sleeper this time around.
Okay, so that's a great place to jump on to our final segment, which is going to be predictions. What are your predictions for Haru?
Nokozuna, to finish. I think Hakuho and Kisunosato will start. I think Kisunosato.
No, please don't let Kisunosato start. Please, for great sumo Katawi Kokugi-kan, keep him home.
Yeah, I hope his alarm just doesn't work that morning or something, yes. and so he has to stay home or something. But that's not his character. His character is to go out there and battle, and that's why it's so disheartening to see guys like him, guys like Terunofuji, and guys like Ikioi. Ikioi is way, way down. He's one of those guys who, these 3 guys, they battle every single day, but they're not necessarily up for it.
So who do you think is going to take the Yusho?
Tochinoshin.
You think it's Tochinoshin again?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think that'll be. He's the strongest guy up there, honestly. Like, even with Takayasu, like Goedo, like all you have to do is get him backing up, and Mitakeumi he shows so much promise, but then like he'll pick up his 8 and he'll be comfortable. Tochinoshin, he's got a taste of it now.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a repeat. I think that'll be cool.
So who's the big surprise this time?
I think Yoshikaze.
I think Yoshikaze's got the magic trick coming up. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll whip on my own. I think that you're right on Nokozuna, right? I think the big surprise is Endo. I think Endo's could go double digits this time. I think he's come to the realization that if he's going to make a push to be a major force of sumo, now is the time to do it. He doesn't have really time to allow some of the other guys to move ahead. I think Takayasu takes the Yusho this time, and people start talking about him as the logical replacement for a retiring Kisunosato.
Do you see Koto Shogiku returning to Sanyaku?
No, I see him continuing to fade, unfortunately. Much as I love me some Koto Shogiku, as we said, when he dropped out of his Ozeki position, it was a one-way trip, and he fought valiantly to stay as high as possible. And he's still, when he can whip it on, he's a lot of fun, but he's done. He's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sad.
So let's wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Andy. It's been a delightful bit of discussion here about what I think is going to be a very tumultuous, unpredictable, and a lot of fun for the upcoming Haru Basho.
Yeah. It will definitely be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and it will be a very, very exciting 6 months. A lot of change coming. This year is going to be it's going to keep us on our toes. So
cool.
It'll be fun.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for watching our podcast, and remember, for Sumo, it's Tachiai. Take care.